Welcome to Speaking of Schaumburg. I'm Village President Al Larson. In this episode, we'll speak with the Experimental Aircraft Association about their Father's Day pancake breakfast. Then we'll find out what the Schaumburg Township District Library has in store for the summer. And we'll close out the program with a look at the Schaumburg Youth Orchestra's 25th anniversary gala concert. All of this and more today here on Speaking of Schaumburg. Every year, the EAA and Schaumburg Airport invite the public to feast and fly at their Father's Day gourmet pancake breakfast. Joining us today from EAA Chapter 153 is Director Bob Myers. Well, welcome to Speaking of Schaumburg again, Bob.
Good to see you, Al.
Tell me, what the EAA is all about and how it got started and how you got involved.
Well, the EAA is over 50 years old, and it's called the Experimental Aircraft Association. And essentially, it's a group of people who started building their own airplanes. And they needed an advocacy group with the government to make sure that the rules to allow people to build airplanes and be able to fly them, they weren't too restrictive. And so that's how it got started. And then, of course, it helped set up a lot of help for people to build airplanes, so chapters got started. And then all the chapters all kind of have a different focus. Many of them are social. They're just a group of pilots who get together and like airplanes. Our chapter here, 153, is kind of very much builder focused, so we have a lot of projects. But they're all different. And the central organization has their big annual event in Oshkosh every year, and that's where all the chapters
Big air show?
Yeah, big air show,
Yeah.
and everybody flies their home-built airplanes up there.
Okay, all right. What kind of plane do you have?
I built a little airplane, a two-seater called a Sonix, and I built that and finished that in 2010. And I've been flying that, and I have almost 300 hours on that airplane now.
Okay. Now, once you put the kit together, do you have to get it certified by somebody?
Yeah, the government has to, you have to follow the rules in building it. And as an amateur builder, I have to have certified and demonstrate that I built over 51% of the airplane. And that's the little exception that the government allows to have a non-certified airplane. Then I actually sign off on the airplane, and the government comes out and they take a look at essentially the paperwork. They don't actually examine the plane for that it's flight worthy, but they put a lot of restrictive rules on it so that you have to demonstrate now that it's flight worthy. So you have to fly it, in my case, for 40 hours through a test routine and make sure it's safe and do all of the documentation of that flight test. And when that's done, then it becomes like a regular airplane.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I started building the airplane in 2006. And well, that's 8 years now. I've been fooling around with building airplanes, and in fact, I've started a second airplane now.
Okay. Does your spouse know about this?
Yes, she does. In fact, she's really the reason I've built the second airplane, because she wasn't sure whether she'd even want to fly in the first one.
Well, get it out of your system, see if it works, right?
But she has enjoyed it tremendously. She was afraid to come into the shop even to help in the first airplane. She was sure she would break something. Well, the second one we're building she's fully enthusiastic about it because it's a much more capable airplane. We'll be able to do trips in it, whereas the first one really wasn't designed for that. And I told her that she would have to help on this one because it's a different type construction. So she's already riveted about 1,000 rivets on this airplane.
How did the chapter start? What happened in Schaumburg?
Actually, with a lot of airports have gone away in the air. There used to be a lot of airports. And our chapter actually originally was from Elgin, and it has moved here to Schaumburg. There's actually another Schaumburg chapter that is here, and that's kind of because it's now the airport that's left in the area.
How many members are?
We have about 50 usually, up and down a little bit, and we probably have about 20 projects, and we have a speaker every month, and we hold that here.
Okay, really? What kind of speaker do you have?
Well, the last one that we had just a couple of weeks ago was a former SR-71 pilot. and which is the high-flying reconnaissance plane that's been retired. That's just the fastest plane that's ever been built, and that was quite a nice talk.
Well, I'll say. Now, the picnic. What does it cost, and what makes it a gourmet picnic?
Well, we make everything there. So we make the pancakes. We scramble fresh eggs. So we have to have actually a couple of guys doing egg cracking and scrambling duty. Okay. And we do buy sausage, and that we don't grind that ourselves. Okay. All right. And then we cook it all up fresh that morning, and we charge. It's first come, first served. No advance ticket sales are needed.
No reservations, huh?
No reservations, and it's $7 for adults and $4 for children.
Okay, all right. When is this event?
We hold it every year on Father's Day, and we hold it at 8 o'clock in the morning, rain or shine, and we have it in the big hangar at the airport.
Okay. What kind of turnout do you get?
We've had, if with bad weather, even with bad weather, we usually have about 400 or 500 people, and with good weather, we've topped 1,000.
Now, do you airplane rides? Do you offer that?
Well, what we do is, first off, a number of pilots, if the weather's nice, will fly in their airplanes. So there's airplanes that people can see, and sometimes some interesting ones. Sure. And then we have, this year, we will have airplane rides for hire from the Northwest Flyers. And they usually give rides.
Okay, it sounds great. You know, and this takes place at the Schaumburg Airport, right there.
Yeah, you just park at the Schaumburg Airport. We also have parking across the street if there's overflow parking, need for that, and people can just walk on over and come in and down into the main hangar. And if somebody just wanted to come over and look at some airplanes, if it's a nice day, they don't even have to pay for breakfast. Just walk around and look.
How long have you been involved with the?
I've been with this chapter since about 2007. When I started building, I wanted to have some help, so I found this chapter. And a friend of mine happened to know that there was a lot of projects there. I was the first Sonics, which is my airplane. Since then, we have several other Sonics builders in my chapter.
Now, you learned to fly where?
I actually learned to fly at Chicago Executive, which is
Milwaukee,
right? Yeah. It's hard for me even to say Chicago Executive once you learn it.
Same here.
Once you learn it, and when you fly into the tower, now you have to change the way you say it, but you still hear people calling Milwaukee Tower every once in a while.
When did you learn to fly?
Actually, not that long ago. I first tried to learn actually when I was about 30, but I really didn't have the time with the family and stuff, so I put it off until I had some time. And so I picked it up again in about 2005.
Okay, and you took flight lessons, I suspect,
correct.
Before you built the plane, right?
Yes, before I built the plane. And then before I test flew the plane, then I took some aerobatic lessons. And I took some lessons specifically, they called unusual attitudes, so that if you had the plane in a test flight condition and you were suddenly upside down, what would you do to recover? And so
I'd activate the parachute.
Some airplanes actually have that now.
Yeah.
But mine doesn't have a parachute. But that is becoming a new thing. And of course, when I did the aerobatic and the unusual attitude flight, we wore parachutes for that, just in case there was an emergency. But it was a way to sharpen my skill and make sure that if I did have some issue, I felt confident that I could land the plane and get out of any unusual.
Now, what's the furthest trip you've taken with
every year I take my airplane down to Crossville, Tennessee, which is about 400 miles, and I do that in October. And what they have down there is a gathering of Sonics aircraft. There's about the whole fleet size of built Sonics is about 400, a little bit more. And we had 40 airplanes, so almost 10% of the whole fleet from around the country. People flew into Crossville, Tennessee for the gathering. And we've done that now. I've done that since 2010. So this will be my 5th year flying down there.
Now, if somebody wanted to get involved with the Experimental Aircraft Association or come to the breakfast, or who can they call? And
well, first off, they could come every second Friday, the second Friday of the month, to our meeting, and they could meet any of us at our chapter meeting. They can email me, or they can just look us up on the EAA, our EAA chapter website, which is EAA153.com. And if they go there, then they'll find an email address and phone numbers.
Okay, or they could just pop in on a meeting, right?
And they could just pop into the meeting. Anybody's welcome.
Ever hear of the Man Will Never Fly Memorial Society?
I never have.
Okay, it's a society dedicated. It says birds fly, men drink, and they meet once a year at Kitty Hawk. Kitty Hawk, yeah.
There's even amongst pilots, there's a lot of hangar flying. A lot of pilots who don't fly anymore, and they just come out to the airport and sit and talk about flying and watch the airplanes. And drinking is part of the activities.
Well, that could be dangerous.
Well, as long as they're not flying.
That's
they're
true.
Just hangar flying. It's still okay.
Okay, all right, Bob. Thanks for being here.
Sure, nice talking
to you. Look
to
forward to that gourmet breakfast.
Hope to see you there.
Me too. Music is in the air at Schaumburg's Town Square. Find out what the Schaumburg Library has in store for their summer concert series next here on Speaking of Schaumburg. In addition to offering a wide variety of classes and programs year-round, each summer the Schaumburg Township District Library presents the weekly outdoor music events for the whole family. Joining us today are Kids Zone Director Melissa Jones, Popular Services Director Judy Napier, and Teen Librarian Katie Lamantia. Did I get that right, Katie?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Well, tell us what you do. What do you guys do for the library? What does a popular librarian do?
The popular librarian is in charge of audiovisual, fiction, and the teen center. And that is a good portion of our circulation at the library, over half. That's why we're called popular.
Oh my. That's a great teen center too, isn't it?
Brand new.
Yeah, brand new. And what is your role?
My role is I'm the director of the Kids Zone, which serves children from birth up through age 14. So we offer a variety of programs promoting literacy and reading and fun for those age groups.
How popular is that?
Pretty popular, yeah. We have a great following, especially our story times and craft programs, toddler crafts.
How many kids come out for these classes and stuff?
I would say,
I imagine you got a core group that come out all the time.
We do,
yeah.
And for daytime craft programs, like for the littlest children, we often have up to 40 to 50 children and their caregivers coming each week.
Now the library is the second largest in the state of Illinois, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, only Chicago is probably the first.
Correct. Yes, we have large circulation just behind Naperville.
Oh, just behind Naperville?
Yes, well, Naperville is quite grown. I mean, they're double our service area at this point.
Well, I can't use that term anymore, then, can I?
Well,
the largest library in the suburbs? No.
Yeah, well,
the largest library in the suburbs.
We're the most popular, though.
That's right. There you go. Katie, how did you get to be besides a teen? I know you got to be a teen. How did you get to be a teen librarian?
Well, actually, I started as a teen at the Schaumburg Library. I was part of our teen core group then, and then I went to college, graduate school, became a librarian, and became a teen librarian at the Schaumburg Library.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you're a teen librarian.
Yes. You're
an adult librarian. A popular one, though, right? Now, where did these ideas come from as far as the programs? I mean, you must have some kind of a session where you sit down in a group and you develop the year's activities. Is that correct?
We have a committee called a ProCom committee that both Katie and Melissa attend, and everybody gets together because every one of our departments puts on programs, so we try to merge and not compete with one another, because a lot of the programs have a big draw. As you know, the outside concerts, we get between 600 and 800 people at Town Square, and inside we can accommodate 100 and more when we use both rooms. So a lot of our programs draw really huge crowds.
And you say large crowd, how large a crowd is it? I mean, typically?
In the indoor programs, like our cooking programs and things like that, will be well over 100. So we constantly, and we have indoor music programs where we have about 80. And we constantly have a packed program guide, and it goes out to the residents of the township, and they receive it every other month. And it really is jam-packed with everything from bus trips to cooking programs, music, computer classes, social media. I think there's very little that we haven't touched. Job enhancement, financial programs.
It's got to be a great asset too for somebody who's out of work and looking for either changing careers or just seeing what's out there.
Very much so, and we cooperate with a lot of other agencies in the community. Harper College is cooperating with us. They're going to have a job bus that will be at one of our branches, and that will have resume help, which we also offer at the library, one-on-one resume help. And we have a number of programs for people who are out of work. And we cooperate with St. Hubert's and with the Illinois Department of Unemployment. So it's very important for us to cooperate with other community agencies.
The village loves the cooperation that the library gives us for those outdoor concerts.
We love having that venue and having your wonderful sound people.
Yes.
They are great.
You've got to say that now because they're the same sound people.
I say that for many years. This is going to be our 16th year, so we can say they give excellent service. They're very patient. Last year we had a rain deluge, and our one reunion jazz concert got rained on and damaged their instruments. So they're coming back this year, and we're praying for good weather.
Now, if somebody wanted more information about the outdoor concerts or about the events at the library, who can they call and what can they call?
Well, they can call the Central Library. They can look on our website. If they're in the library, we have a lovely handout that is simply highlighting the town square programs, and we have a calendar. So basically, any way they want to call us.
There's a kiosk out there too, isn't there?
Yes, there is a kiosk.
In Town Square.
Yes.
We're also on social media too, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. So.
Okay.
Many options.
Well, I look forward to it. Should be a wonderful season. So, Katie.
Yes.
What happens when you're no longer a teen? I mean, is that it?
We actually have a new line of programming called Next Gen, which we're doing to specifically target our 20s and 30s demographic. Myself and two other popular librarians are part of this, and we host a monthly trivia night at local bars and taverns, and crafting sessions, anything that people are interested in, trying to gather people to the community, draw them in.
So when are you going to have another Civil War reenactment?
Actually, we've got a Civil War program. We have a lot of World War I programs this summer
for the 100 years.
The 100 year, and we have a program on different. We have a speaker coming on some Civil War. Okay. I know one of our employees is a Civil War reenactor, Amy Alessio, one of the teen librarians.
We've had her on this on the show.
Yes, they do have a program with the teens.
Yes.
They do the clothing and.
Yeah, we actually just had it in February, Civil War mystery dinner. So we had a nice little thing for the teens. They got dressed up in the gear, showed off the weaponry and everything of the time. So they were really fascinated by it.
How many kids were involved in that project?
About 10 to 15. Some were forced dressed up as, and it was quite interesting.
You guys have way too much fun. Not really. Not really.
It is a fun job.
No, it's a great
and it's
job.
different every day. I think that's the other part of
What drew
being in the library.
you to be a librarian? What was it?
Well, I was a former classroom teacher, and I just always loved reading, and this seemed like a natural progression. So I've been with the library now almost 20 years, and I never looked back. I love it.
I've been with them 43 years, and not
it's
quite
a lifetime ago.
Yeah, not quite as long as Mike Madden, but originally I was going to go into guidance and counseling, and I found working at the library was a lot more rewarding.
We do some guidance and counseling there too.
Yes, it's really a people job. People don't realize how much we reenact with people.
Yeah.
A lot of special needs people spend a lot of time at the library.
Katie?
Similar reasonings. It also helped that I grew up at the library, essentially, and
they have a birthing room. Is that the next time?
Well, we give library cards to infants.
Yes,
Yes, we.
We start them young.
We've had people go into labor at the library, so
I don't want to hear about it. So nice to have you on the show.
very nice to be here. Thank you so much.
Don't spill that
Thank
coffee.
you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. The Schaumburg Youth Orchestra is celebrating its 25th anniversary at a world-class venue. Find out more next here on Speaking of Schaumburg. Since 1989, the Schaumburg Youth Orchestra has showcased the talents of the area's most gifted young musicians, and on June 27th, the SYO is celebrating its 25th anniversary in a very special way. Here to tell us more about it are Executive Director of the Prairie Center Arts Foundation, Lucinda Floden, and Orchestra Manager Rob Palekas. Lucinda, Rob, tell us about this gala. What makes it a gala?
Oh, because it's celebrating 25 years of this amazing youth orchestra that we're so proud of.
You're going to have all the kids from the youth orchestra there, and
We're going to have a lot of people. The concert will feature our current orchestra that has been playing, a couple concerts throughout the season, and they are in fine shape. Probably one of the best ensembles we have put together in the program. And then they're going to be joined by alumni from the past 25 years.
Wow.
We'll have up to 100 and maybe 15 talented musicians on stage at one time performing.
Symphony
And
Center.
they're going to be joined by the brand newly formed Schaumburg Youth Orchestra, Youth Choir.
Youth choir, so
which is very exciting.
it's going to be just an absolute celebration of young talent.
Tell me about the youth choir.
The Schaumburg Youth Choir. We just completed our first season. They are 15 members strong. We'll be adding to that number for this concert, but they had a very successful start. They're going to be kicking up the new season in the fall, and we'll be auditioning. We're looking for new members, so people can contact the Prairie Center to find out about that.
And this is all going to be at Symphony Center in Chicago.
Yes, which is a really wonderful gift to give these young musicians. It's a concert hall that they will remember their whole lives. I mean, it's a lovely space.
Yeah, when we told the students, we did this once before for our 20th anniversary. We played there. So when we told them again, and it's been 5 years since then, so we have a whole new crop of young talent. Sure. Excitement. I mean, this is their Carnegie Hall to play where the Chicago Symphony Orchestra performs. It's an unparalleled experience for these young people.
How does choir start? How did this chorus start?
The choir? Well, the choir really started. It was an idea that Joe Momquist, who is a director of the Symphony Orchestra, came up with. He thought that the Symphony Orchestra plays a lot of music that could involve a choir, so he always wanted to have some kind of a resident choir to perform with the youth orchestra. So those were the seeds of what is now the Schaumburg Youth Choir. Now they, of course, will have their own season. They will perform on their own, but they are going to be joining the youth orchestra, I believe, this coming winter for their next holiday show and upcoming concerts after that.
Lucinda,
Yes.
how's the foundation?
Foundation's good. We're in the midst of our C-Notes fundraising, which is all about the concert in Chicago.
What's a C-note?
Well, a C-Note, obviously is a $100 bill.
Okay.
And it fits so nicely with the orchestra. And what we're hoping is to get people in the community and businesses to give $100 towards getting this orchestra to Symphony Hall on the 27th of June.
100 or more.
100 or more.
You can give more. You don't have to just give 100.
You don't.
You can give many hundreds.
So you can give a C note. You could give a C major, which is $500.
C major, C note. Okay.
and if you give, to get them there, you'll get your name in the program. You get 2 tickets to the post-concert reception, and
where's that post-concert reception?
it's going to be at Berghoff in Chicago.
The historic Berghoff restaurant.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a great place.
I thought they closed that some time ago.
They did for a little while, and they kind of reopened it. It was a nice.
And it's classic Chicago.
So,
I mean, it'll be fun.
Berghoff was the first restaurant to receive, in Chicago, the first to receive a liquor license. They have liquor license number 1 after Prohibition was repealed. Which is kind of interesting. But it's been around for a long, long time. They've put together a wonderful menu for the reception, and that is just for people who donate to the C-Notes campaign.
How did I get from the Symphony Center to Berghoff?
They walk a couple of blocks.
Okay, all right.
Or they take a cab. I mean,
sure.
It's just a couple blocks, 2-3 blocks
Yeah.
to get there. So, and that's it's all part of the fun of that evening. You know, it's going to be a very unique night. Things like this don't. I mean, I'm excited to go.
Oh, me too.
You know.
So you had a program there that has the 115 or so musicians.
Yes. Well, yes. It's a.
How do you do that? How do you integrate that?
It's really difficult. It's not easy. We had to sit down and of course invite our alumni to come back, and we got lots and lots of responses, and we had to sit down and say, all right, well, how many cellos do we have? How many violins? How many of that? And basically, Joe, the director, had to sit down and say, all right, what can I do with this? They'll be joining us for a couple of the pieces, but the big showcase number is going to be the 1812 Overture, Tchaikovsky's 1812, and that was originally written as a festival piece for the townspeople. Anyone
There
could
was
join
an emperor
in.
named Napoleon.
What's the rest of it? I can't remember how it goes.
I can't either.
So. Well, we're not going to sing those lines, but the choir will join in.
I understand.
And it's kind of this it's Russian, of course, and it was the choral arrangement was written later after Tchaikovsky had written the original piece. It wasn't originally with chorus, but it was later added by an arranger, and so we could have up to 150 people performing in this number, and it's a big, and of course you got the cannons and the chimes and.
You have to clear this with the authorities in Chicago. I mean, the cannons and. It's going to be a great evening.
What they don't know.
It's going to be a wonderful
It's
evening.
going to be a great evening.
It really is. I mean, the last time we did it in 1989, it was a very special night, and I think it's even more incredible. On the 25th.
How do they get tickets?
Absolutely. Well, tickets they have to get from the Symphony Center, and they can do that online.
Okay.
But if they go to the Schaumburg Youth Orchestra site, there's a link to the Symphony Center.
Okay.
All the information is there.
And they can also make a donation to the C Notes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think it's important. Orchestras, any arts program can't exist alone on ticket sales.
Absolutely not.
So this is, it's not a vanity thing. It's needed, this money to survive.
And these kids work real hard, and they do glorious work. I mean, they're very, very good, and they're worth supporting, and they're worth listening to, and I think they are ambassadors to the world of Schaumburg.
And I should mention they're led by a conductor who was just named Conductor of the Year.
Joe Malmquist.
Joe Malmquist by the Illinois Council of Orchestras, and that's a great honor, and it couldn't happen at a better time, I don't think.
And our youth orchestra they've won their share of awards as well.
They've been Youth Orchestra of the Year twice, in 2002 and 2008, and so they've been winning awards. They've been traveling all over the world. We were just in Paris and London last year and had a great time. We just to see people of different backgrounds to come up to the orchestra and just to appreciate it and really just connect.
What's your goal in terms of the number of people in the chorus? What's your goal there?
In the chorus, we'd love to get, for this performance, we'd like to see at least 50 in the concert. For the whole choir itself, in upcoming years, it could be as big as 100, and it'd be great to see that many people. We want, obviously, this is going to be challenging material. It's not a children's chorus. This is a young adults chorus, and they're going to have to perform well.
What's the age range?
High school and college.
Okay.
Right. Age 15 and up. 15 through 22, I believe.
That's for the chorus.
For the chorus.
Okay. Yeah. You want to get them after the voices change, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's important. We want that. We want a little more of a mature sound.
Yeah. Is it too late for? Oh, okay. Never mind.
Well, your voice has changed.
Thanks, Lucinda.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
That'll do it for this edition of Speaking of Schaumburg. Join us again next month for another all-new episode. Until then, I'll see you around town.